Adair II, 308 West Street, taxpayer for the last 31 years, removed chief of 25 years on the department. I will clarify some of the questions. Your employment with the city of Jonesville at an at-will basis, as you know, and it was further described in a memorandum from the Director of Public Safety and Chief of Police Lance to the City Manager Gray, dated July 26, 2023. An evaluation has been completed regarding your job performance, including the handling of a personnel incident that took place on March 13, 2023. You have been afforded an opportunity to review the memorandum and the allegations regarding your actions. Now you know where it came from. I don't know if council has every bullet point on here, but I'm going to touch on each and every one of them so that you can see what took place and what transpired. The failure to manage the personnel incident. The personnel incident started with violation of the incident command. That came from your prior director that let this individual violate the incident command or the chain of command. It didn't come through us, it didn't come through any of the officers on the department. It went right directly to the director. From the director, it went to city offices. And both were guilty of the incident. Wasn't my problem. He got addressed that he violated the chain of command, didn't like it, got up, resigned verbally that night, and told us, don't come to my business, I don't want you, I'm not going to make anything for you, I don't want to have anything to do with you guys. Left. Okay? We made the director aware of it. And in their bullet point it says, it was a training night. It wasn't a training night. It was a cleanup. It was our meeting night. So after addressing it with the director, we had another meeting and sat down, the director and the officers, with said individual. Obviously, the apparent that he cannot perform the duties of a firefighter and was not mentally capable of any type of rational conversation, there still was nothing done by the director. If you remember, I'll get the date, on August 19, 2021, I was relieved of administration duties because the position of public safety director was made as a blocker because supposedly communications were bad between the department and city office. So, in turn, I'm operational. That means I take care of my guys, I make sure our equipment's running, I make sure that they're safe and they go home at night after our calls. Administration takes care of all the rest. Payroll, which I was still doing, state reporting, personnel issues, those are the things that administration takes care of. But I'm being removed because of an administration issue. If anybody is major misconduct, it would be the director. He didn't take care of the duties that he was hired for. It may be in a temporary term or fashion. Maybe somebody didn't inform him of all his duties that he was supposed to perform. But I'm getting blamed for it. I'm getting railroaded for it. That's fine. That's the thanks I get for 25 years of serving the community. If we drop down also to another bullet point that I did not complete training that council had voted in with Adair, that when we had our elections, we were supposed to have a Officer 1 completed by end of the fiscal year. Again, I remind you, August 19th, 2021, I was removed from administration. I was taken out of the ability to be able to schedule classes, even for myself or any individual in the department. It's administration's job to do that, which he was aware of because I just completed Firefighter 2. Okay? And he knew I had no access to schedule that class. He did. So again, I'm being blamed on one of these bullet points in my removal that I did not complete this class. But it's amazing that now we can go We've moved it out. I don't know if council approved that, because you approved that it had to be by the end of the financial, or by the fiscal year, that it had to be resolved and taken care of when we were removed from our positions. I want you to know also, you do have an officer that's in place that's running the department that was under that too. So there was no removal for him. One of them resigned. So one had the class. So I'm not getting the gist of it. It's confusing to me. But now we've told the people that are placed that those are effect. It's okay, we're gonna move it out 3 years. But then I looked and I see that those classes weren't even budgeted until 2023-24 year. So I'm wondering why I'm getting, if I could have at least 5 minutes for every year that I serve the community, that'd be great. I got a couple more bullet points and I'll be done. So the other thing was failing to secure doors at the fire department. The doors were left open at a training. You know what? That practice has been done for years and years. We've never had an issue anybody taking anything. We don't have the door clickers to be able to reach. Nobody's going to get out of the truck to go back and shut the door when an emergency happens. Okay? This was a training that night that the doors were left open. I can tell you this. If you ever look into the hazards of carcinogens from diesel exhaust fumes inside of a building, that was one of the reasons why we used to leave doors open so that we could vent that out. We brought it to the attention and told them that the proper exhaust system needed to be put on the vehicles, but that's an emerging trend. Cancers for firefighters are emerging trends, and that equipment never got put in place. So, to make sure that we were safeguarding the guys that were still in the department, we leave the doors in to go ahead and let it vent out. You go through every community in this department and in this county, there's doors left open. Hillsdale City, they leave on a call, doors are open. It's one of those things. But that's one of the bullet points that I'm getting removed for 25 years, is that I left the door open on the garage down there. During a training session, I'm being blamed for sediment in the water in the city. Okay? Now, I just need to know if there's anybody here that's certified by the state firefighting. Okay. Well, I'm being blamed that I had an improper use of a hydrant valve. Now, somebody'd have to give me, I can give you the description of a hydrant valve. A hydrant valve is a small 2.5-inch valve that we stick on the side, the smaller part of the hydrant that we hook up when we hooked in our main steamer off the front, which is an LDH, large diameter hose. That night at that training, when we were doing hydrant training, a hydrant valve was put on the hydrant, never used, and we used off the LDH, which goes right directly to the truck. We may have ran about 3,000 gallons, maybe. But nothing that was anything that was illegal or improper, nothing happened. We even have a regulating valve that hooks to the truck, that if there's a surge or a hammer, they shut the line off, it doesn't send it back, it dumps the water out the side of the truck. That was in place. And I think these guys can vouch that on that training there was no illegal handling that would have ever caused rust or a release into the city water supply. That's the way. And a loss in tower pressure. I'm telling you what, if me hooking one truck into a hydrant and running it for maybe 3 minutes at the far end of the city does anything with the pressure in the city, we've got a really fragile system. And we need to look into it and take care of it. Because the debris that came, it would have been, let me see, about June. It would have been, yeah, it was June 6th. We had a structure fire out on 2760 East Chicago Road. It was on a Tuesday. The hydrant in front of the department was used, and it came out like brown mud. So how did the debris on July 19th, how did that, the cause, obviously we can't go back in time from when we did our training to when we used it prior in June. And you can have that verified by any of the departments that mutual aided with us that day, because they had to dump all their rigs before they went back. Also, one other bullet point and I'm done. The bullet point is that I used, I'm going to get the correct wording here. I used to the effect of 2 recent occurrences in which fire department personnel and trucks under Chief Adair's direction were utilized for non-city purposes for the benefit of a local business and a private party resident located outside the city limits. Okay, now that's misleading. Outside the city limits, this, I could have walked across the road from city limits to out of the city limits. That's how far it was. It was a business owner in the city, Jason Bugby, and he asked, hey, if you guys are out doing training, you're going to run the trucks or something, could you maybe just spray down this patch on my garage, just to wet it down for me? Well, absolutely. Everybody has to understand is that when we do trainings, when we do stuff like that, idle trucks down there that set and don't get run are the ones that are going to fail when the emergency happens. So we do cycle it. Now, whether I take that water and I dump it out here on US 12, or I spray it out into a field somewhere, why can't a community member, a business member, get a benefit to that? They pay taxes here. Isn't that what the fire department's about? Community service? And if I can aid to the community by we're doing a benefit to us by running our truck, why not? It's a win-win. That's where you get the support from the community. And that's what I've done for 25 years. But I guess these times weren't good enough. I mean, it was, obviously, I didn't get any memo that any type of procedure changes, anything like that. Nothing at all. But it was okay when the city manager asked me to go wash down Big Coffee and dump thousands of gallons of water. It was okay then. I guess I'm lost again. It was okay then, but it's not okay now. And that's another one that I was removed for. Nothing unethical, nothing criminal, BS. This is what this is. This whole thing right here is BS.
Thank you.